The night air in Atlanta was thick with tension, and inside the dimly lit mansion, T.I. paced nervously, unaware that his world was about to collapse entirely. King Harris had always been a silent observer, someone who lingered in the shadows, watching every move, every decision, and every secret that T.I. thought was buried deep beneath the surface. But tonight, King Harris had made a choice that would shatter loyalties, destroy reputations, and leave T.I. scrambling for answers he might never get. The forbidden video, the one that T.I. had gone to extreme lengths to protect, was now in King Harris's hands. And the man he intended to share it with was none other than 50 Cent, a figure known for exploiting every crack in someone's armor. As T.I. stared at the wall, oblivious to the storm about to hit, King Harris dialed 50 Cent's number with a calm precision that betrayed the chaos he was about to unleash. When 50 Cent picked up, there was a chilling tone in the air, a mixture of anticipation and malice. King Harris wasted no time. "I've got something you need to see," he said, his voice low, almost a whisper, but every syllable was charged with the gravity of the moment. 50 Cent leaned back in his chair, a smirk forming across his face, sensing that this wasn't just another leak, it was a weapon. Meanwhile, T.I. was still pacing in his mansion, oblivious to the digital chain reaction that had already begun. Every phone call, every screenshot, every share would amplify the chaos that King Harris had meticulously orchestrated. T.I.'s confidants had tried to warn him, whispering that some secrets were too dangerous to keep, but the kingpin himself had believed he was untouchable. That illusion was about to be obliterated. As King Harris uploaded the video to a secure, untraceable server, his mind was methodical, calculating the fallout. He knew T.I.'s reaction would be explosive. He knew that 50 Cent would use the video strategically, not just to humiliate T.I., but to assert dominance over a feud that had been simmering for years. And when the first notification pinged on 50 Cent's phone, signaling that the forbidden footage was finally accessible, a dangerous grin spread across his face. This was more than just a betrayal. It was a spectacle, a public unraveling of power, trust, and pride. T.I., on the other hand, was completely in the dark, still attempting to maintain his composure, unaware that King Harris had already set the first domino in motion. T.I.'s phone suddenly vibrated with a string of frantic messages, but before he could react, whispers started circulating among insiders who had caught wind of the leak. The forbidden video, which had been hidden behind layers of security and secrecy, was now a ticking time bomb threatening to explode across social media platforms, private groups, and industry contacts. Each ping, each notification, each alert was another blow to T.I.'s carefully curated image. King Harris watched from afar, knowing that his calculated move was working like clockwork. Meanwhile, 50 Cent began plotting his public strategy, drafting posts, teasers, and cryptic messages that would make the reveal even more devastating. Every word, every pause, every glance from him was calculated to maximize T.I.'s humiliation. Back in Atlanta, T.I. finally noticed the unusual activity on his phone. His eyes widened as he realized that screenshots of the forbidden video had started circulating, sparking rumors and heated debates online. Panic surged through him. He immediately tried to reach King Harris, but every call went unanswered. King Harris had vanished into the shadows, leaving T.I. isolated, vulnerable, and completely exposed. The betrayal cut deep, and T.I. understood that this wasn't just about a video. It was about power, control, and the devastating consequences of misplaced trust. 50 Cent, sensing victory, remained silent, letting the storm build naturally. He didn't need to intervene yet. The psychological dismantling of T.I.'s empire was already underway. T.I. called his inner circle frantically, demanding answers, trying to understand how King Harris had outmaneuvered him. But no one had a clear explanation. King Harris had been meticulous, anticipating every move, every countermeasure. The forbidden video was not only a scandal, it was a testament to T.I.'s vulnerabilities and the ruthless cunning of those around him. As the hours ticked by, the leak grew, spreading like wildfire. Comments, reposts, and reactions amplified the damage. T.I.'s attempts to regain control only made the situation worse, highlighting his desperation. In contrast, King Harris and 50 Cent observed with a mix of satisfaction and calculated detachment, knowing they had delivered a blow that could change the course of T.I.'s public and private life forever. By midnight, the fallout was undeniable. T.I. was forced to confront the reality that his reputation, his alliances, and his authority had been shaken to the core. King Harris, the orchestrator of the chaos, had disappeared back into the shadows, leaving T.I. to grapple with the consequences alone. 50 Cent, on the other hand, was already strategizing the next phase, thinking several steps ahead. He knew that the forbidden video was just the beginning and that public perception would now be his most powerful weapon. T.I.'s fatal downfall was not merely a moment of embarrassment. It was a calculated collapse, engineered by King Harris and amplified by 50 Cent, marking a turning point that would be remembered in the industry for years to come. By the early hours of the morning, T.I. was spiraling. The forbidden video had taken on a life of its own, spreading across encrypted networks, gossip channels, and social media feeds faster than anyone could contain. Every mention of his name was now tied to whispers of betrayal, scandal, and humiliation. T.I.'s carefully constructed persona, one that had taken years to build, was being shredded piece by piece. He sat in the dark, scrolling through messages and notifications, each one a dagger to his pride, his composure slipping further with every ping. King Harris had executed his plan with precision. Not a single misstep, not a single hesitation. The man who had once been a silent observer had now become the architect of T.I.'s downfall. Meanwhile, King Harris wasn't just sitting back. He was in full control of the narrative, monitoring every reaction, every leak, every screenshot that surfaced online. The level of calculation in his approach was terrifying. Every post that mentioned T.I., every whispered conversation in industry circles, had been anticipated and accounted for. King Harris knew that 50 Cent would amplify the chaos, using his reach and influence to ensure that the scandal could not be ignored. And true to form, 50 Cent began to escalate the situation publicly, posting cryptic hints and subtle jabs that ignited speculation and outrage. It was psychological warfare at its finest, and T.I. was the target. T.I.'s inner circle scrambled to respond, but their efforts were disorganized and frantic. Lawyers, managers, and PR advisors tried to contain the damage, but the digital age had no mercy for secrecy. The forbidden video was no longer just a leak. It had become an unstoppable force. Every attempt by T.I. to regain control only fueled further interest. King Harris's name, though mostly behind the scenes, began circulating alongside 50 Cent's calculated commentary. The two had formed an unspoken alliance in this crisis, a partnership forged in strategy and betrayal, leaving T.I. isolated in the eye of the storm. T.I., desperate for answers, demanded to speak with King Harris directly. But King Harris remained elusive, appearing only in glimpses, in cryptic messages that mocked T.I.'s frantic attempts to regain control. "You thought you were untouchable," one message read, "but you underestimated the consequences of betrayal." T.I. felt the walls closing in. His empire, his influence, and his credibility were all being systematically dismantled. Every day, every hour, every minute brought new revelations, new commentary, and new exposure. And 50 Cent, with his finger on the pulse of public opinion, was ensuring that the narrative remained firmly in his favor. The impact on T.I.'s personal life was immediate and devastating. Friends who had once stood by him now distanced themselves, wary of association with the controversy. Collaborations were paused, endorsements threatened, and the media feasted on the unfolding drama. King Harris, observing from a safe distance, had orchestrated not just a public humiliation, but a strategic isolation. He knew the psychological toll would be as damaging as any financial or career blow. And 50 Cent, ever the opportunist, capitalized on every misstep, every flinch from T.I., turning the scandal into a spectacle that the world could not ignore. As the days progressed, T.I. attempted to respond publicly, issuing statements and trying to reclaim his narrative. But each statement only drew more attention to the forbidden video, inadvertently fueling the fire King Harris had set ablaze. The tension between T.I. and 50 Cent escalated visibly, each move scrutinized by fans, media, and industry insiders alike. Every comment, every post, every subtle gesture became fodder for speculation. T.I. was no longer just a figure in a scandal. He had become the centerpiece of a calculated downfall, engineered meticulously by King Harris and strategically amplified by 50 Cent. By the end of the week, the forbidden video had transformed from a private secret into a public phenomenon. T.I. found himself trapped in a relentless cycle of scrutiny, criticism, and ridicule. King Harris remained the unseen mastermind, his influence felt but not directly seen. While 50 Cent thrived in the chaos, his presence a constant reminder that T.I.'s empire was vulnerable, his alliances fragile, and his reputation hanging by a thread. The countdown to T.I.'s ultimate confrontation with both King Harris and 50 Cent had begun, and the world was watching every step, every reaction, every mistake. The fatal downfall that had been set into motion was no longer a possibility. It was inevitable, and T.I. was powerless to stop it. T.I. could no longer ignore the storm that had completely engulfed his life. Every step he took, every public appearance, every phone call seemed to draw attention to the forbidden video King Harris had leaked. The humiliation had become unbearable, and T.I. realized that this was no ordinary scandal. It was a full-scale assault on his reputation, orchestrated with precision and amplified with intent. The once untouchable mogul found himself cornered, forced to confront both the mastermind and the man exploiting the chaos. King Harris had not only exposed T.I.'s vulnerabilities, but had meticulously calculated how far he could push him before the world would turn against him completely. And 50 Cent, sensing victory, was playing the ultimate chess game, each move designed to leave T.I. reactive, desperate, and off-balance. T.I.'s first instinct was to fight back publicly. He scheduled an emergency press conference, determined to reclaim his narrative and show the world that he was still in control. But before he could even step up to the podium, the first wave of leaks hit. Screenshots, clips, and insider accounts flooded every social media platform imaginable. The forbidden video, which had started as a private betrayal, now dominated headlines, trending topics, and online feeds globally. T.I. could feel the weight of King Harris's manipulation pressing down on him. Every attempt at control seemed only to validate the power of the leak. The mogul's frustration grew, and in that frustration, T.I. began to see the faces of those he once trusted, realizing that betrayal had come from every angle. Meanwhile, King Harris observed silently, calculating every reaction. He had predicted that T.I. would attempt to reclaim control, and he had anticipated the exact manner in which panic and anger would manifest. Every legal threat, every public denial, every attempt to suppress information only made the scandal more explosive. And 50 Cent, knowing that timing was everything, strategically fueled speculation, dropping cryptic messages and subtle insults that made T.I. look increasingly desperate. The collaboration between King Harris and 50 Cent was a masterclass in manipulation, one controlling the content, the other controlling perception. T.I. had become a pawn in a game he didn't fully understand, and the pieces were moving faster than he could react. As the public pressure mounted, T.I. decided that private confrontation was unavoidable. He arranged a high-stakes meeting, hoping to confront King Harris directly and force some explanation. But King Harris, ever elusive, remained calm, collected, and utterly unafraid. "You thought you could control everything," King Harris said, a faint smirk playing across his lips. "But power isn't about control, it's about influence. And influence? That's mine right now." T.I. felt a mixture of anger, betrayal, and helplessness. Every word from King Harris was a reminder that his empire had been infiltrated from within, and that the man he had once underestimated now held the upper hand completely. 50 Cent's role in the unfolding disaster became increasingly visible. At every opportunity, he capitalized on T.I.'s visible frustration, leaking hints, dropping teasers, and stirring online speculation. T.I., already struggling to maintain composure, found his every move scrutinized, every emotion dissected. The forbidden video was no longer just a scandal. It was a weapon, a spectacle, and a symbol of power. King Harris had delivered it to 50 Cent with surgical precision, knowing that the rapper's influence and reach would maximize the damage. And 50 Cent, with his strategic genius, exploited every weakness, ensuring that T.I. remained on the defensive at all times. As tensions reached a boiling point, T.I. realized that this was more than personal betrayal. It was a calculated takedown. King Harris had understood that power in the digital age could be more devastating than physical confrontation. Every leaked clip, every screenshot, every online mention was a strike against T.I.'s credibility. And 50 Cent, ever opportunistic, ensured that the world was watching every reaction. T.I.'s attempts to respond, to justify, or to reclaim control only highlighted his vulnerability. The mogul who had once seemed invincible was now publicly dismantled, his every move anticipated and countered by the very people he had trusted the most. By the end of the confrontation, T.I. was forced to acknowledge a painful truth. His downfall had been orchestrated meticulously, with precision timing, and it had exploited every weakness he possessed. King Harris had proven to be a master strategist, understanding not just T.I.'s vulnerabilities, but the intricate network of influence that would amplify their effects. And 50 Cent had transformed that exposure into a spectacle, ensuring that the fallout was not just immediate, but historic. T.I.'s empire was no longer untouchable. His reputation, once untarnished, was now a battlefield. And the countdown to the final stage of this dramatic saga, where consequences, revenge, and ultimate reckoning would collide, had already begun. T.I. sat alone in his private studio, the glow of his phone illuminating a face etched with exhaustion and disbelief. Every notification that buzzed across the screen was a reminder of the forbidden video that King Harris had delivered to 50 Cent. It wasn't just the content. It was the calculated timing, the precision with which King Harris had orchestrated the exposure, and the ruthless way 50 Cent had amplified it for the world to see. T.I. realized that this was no ordinary scandal. This was a fatal downfall, one designed to dismantle everything he had built over decades. His empire, his credibility, his alliances, all had been tested, and the fractures were now painfully visible. The streets of Atlanta buzzed with whispers. Every radio show, every social media feed, every corner of the city seemed to echo the scandal. Fans and critics alike dissected T.I.'s every move, replayed the leaked clips, and debated the motives behind King Harris's betrayal. Meanwhile, 50 Cent, ever the opportunist, continued to stoke the fire. His subtle posts, cryptic messages, and strategic hints ensured that T.I. remained on the defensive, reacting to the storm rather than controlling it. King Harris, watching from the shadows, remained untouchable, the silent architect of a downfall that had already reached epic proportions. T.I. attempted one final push to salvage what remained of his reputation. He reached out directly to 50 Cent, hoping to negotiate, to appeal, to reclaim some semblance of control. But 50 Cent was not just a participant, he was a strategist. He knew the power of timing and perception, and he deliberately drew out the confrontation, letting the suspense and public attention maximize T.I.'s vulnerability. Every word T.I. sent, every plea he made, was met with silence or cryptic replies designed to humiliate further. The forbidden video, now a cultural flashpoint, had ensured that T.I.'s every move was scrutinized, his every reaction magnified, and his status as untouchable shattered. King Harris's influence reached beyond just the video itself. He had leveraged T.I.'s trust, manipulated insiders, and controlled the narrative without ever stepping into the public eye. His ability to orchestrate chaos from the shadows was devastating. Every alliance T.I. had believed secure was now questionable. Friends, collaborators, and even family members began distancing themselves, wary of association. T.I.'s isolation became as much a weapon as the public exposure itself. And 50 Cent, exploiting every detail, ensured that the narrative painted T.I. not just as a victim, but as someone who had lost control entirely. As the days turned into weeks, the fallout became irreversible. T.I. watched his empire crumble piece by piece. Collaborations fell through, projects were postponed, and endorsements vanished overnight. The forbidden video had transcended personal betrayal. It was now a historical example of calculated manipulation in the music and entertainment industry. King Harris had delivered the weapon, and 50 Cent had wielded it with precision, leaving T.I. exposed, humiliated, and powerless. The mogul's attempts to reclaim his life and career only highlighted the scale of his downfall. Finally, the confrontation that everyone had anticipated came to a head. T.I. arranged a private meeting with King Harris, desperate for answers, for some acknowledgement, for a chance to regain control. King Harris, calm and collected as ever, met him with a faint, knowing smile. "You built an empire thinking you controlled it," King Harris said softly. "But influence doesn't belong to the one who thinks. They belong to the one who acts." T.I realized then that this was more than a personal betrayal. It was a lesson in strategy, power, and the fragility of even the most formidable empires. King Harris had dismantled him not with violence, but with intellect, foresight, and precision. 50 Cent, observing from the periphery, made his presence known only subtly, ensuring that T.I understood the full weight of the exposure. Every glance, every message, every carefully timed post was designed to remind T.I that his downfall was now public, irreversible, and unavoidable. The forbidden video had accomplished its purpose. It had exposed vulnerabilities, shattered trust, and demonstrated that even legends could be brought to their knees when cunning and strategy were applied without hesitation. T.I could fight, he could respond, he could apologize, but the damage had been done. His reputation, carefully constructed over decades, had been irrevocably altered, leaving King Harris and 50 Cent standing as the orchestrators of a spectacle that would be remembered for years to come. In the final hours of the saga, T.I faced a harsh reality. The forbidden video had not just revealed a moment. It had revealed the fragility of trust, the vulnerability of influence, and the power of calculated betrayal. King Harris had acted with surgical precision, and 50 Cent had executed the amplification flawlessly. T.I was no longer the untouchable mogul he once was. He was a cautionary tale, a lesson in hubris, and a public example of how power can be dismantled from within. As the night fell over Atlanta, the world watched, fascinated, horrified, and captivated. T.I.'s fatal downfall was complete, orchestrated by the hands of King Harris and witnessed, amplified, and immortalized by 50 Cent. And in that moment, a new chapter of power, influence, and legacy was written, not by T.I, but by the men who had mastered the art of control in a world where secrets are weapons and loyalty is the most fragile of constructs.